Waking up to a zombie apocalypse is bad, but deciding to end it all? That's Aiden's plan until fate slams the door and drags him into a nightmare he can't escape. But before we begin, if you are a fan of recapped horror, mystery and survival movies, then you have come to the right place. If that is of interest to you, please hit the like button like it owes you money, but not too hard because we need it for our next recap. Also subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications. Thank you. It all started 42 days ago when Aiden woke up to find the woman he spent the night with already gone. He went to the bathroom to wash up and found a note from his parents with a check, reminding him to pay rent. He could hear yelling and pounding in the hallway but thought it was just the neighbors. Then he turned on the TV and saw the emergency broadcast system. Suddenly, sirens and screaming filled the streets, causing Aiden to rush to the balcony where he saw a smoking helicopter crash into a building. People ran in every direction and a young girl asked for help, but suddenly she and a man jumped on an elderly person, killing them. A military jet flew overhead, and a horrified Aiden rushed back inside just as his neighbor Brandon entered, saying his lifelong roommate had suddenly attacked him. On TV, a man explained that a new virus was turning people into flesh-eating zombies, spreading through blood, mainly from bites and scratches, but before he could finish the message, the transmission cut out. Realizing Brandon had been wounded, Aiden grabbed a knife to defend himself as the pounding in the corridor grew louder. Then, Brandon's eyes began bleeding and his face twisted into something monstrous. Aiden forces him to leave and he has to run to push the door closed because Brandon finally snaps, trying to reach inside to attack him. Looking through the peephole, he was horrified to see people eating each other in the hallway, so he stepped back, trying to calm himself. On TV, the news warned that the virus was taking over the world and told people to stay home. Aiden started drinking while trying to call his family, but the lines were dead. Later, delayed texts from his father came through saying they had been on their way to see him but had no news about his sister, then apologizing that they couldn't make it and telling him to stay alive. The last message from his mother begged him to call. He tries but the line still didn't work, causing Aiden to break down and spend the day crying as he stared at the city. After this, he began counting the days of the pandemic with post-it notes and thinking about his father. On day 6, he decided to move things around out of frustration. On day 7, he tried to record a video log about how these non-stop noises have been affecting him, but the constant screams and pounding in the hallway ruined it and he ends up closing the computer. On day 14, he covered all the windows to avoid seeing the destruction outside but left the news on, learning the infected were called screamers because they repeated the last words they said before turning. He kept drinking and ignored anyone pounding on his door. On day 16, the water ran out and in anger he threw things, knowing he needed to get supplies but he is too scared to leave. Later, he read about sensory deprivation and how it caused hallucinations, so he tried to keep busy by playing guitar and working out, but frustration made him smash a mirror. One night, he heard noises from the bathroom vent and grabbed his bat, then froze as a female screamer crawled out repeating no. He waited for the right moment and struck her, killing her, then threw the body off the balcony and blocked the bathroom vent with a surfboard. On day 42, still hearing screams outside, he recorded another log saying he was losing his mind and would starve in 3 days if he didn't get supplies. Suddenly his phone rang and a voicemail from his parents played. They had been trapped at work and couldn't reach him or his sister, then screamers attacked and killed them, causing Aiden to have his worst breakdown yet. Desperate, he armed himself with a bat and left the apartment, finding Brandon on the floor repeating "I'm okay." He couldn't bring himself to kill him, but then a group of screamers rushed at him, forcing Aiden to run. The main hallway was blocked, so he took the stairs down and hid until runners passed before heading through another corridor, pushing away attackers and eventually reaching the opposite side of his floor to reach his apartment. He entered his apartment and pushed the fridge against the door. Through the peephole he saw screamers searching for him. Then, a loud bang was heard and the power went out across the city. That night, he dreamed of his family, but in the morning the noise outside continued and he decided to self-delete. However, he stopped when he spotted a woman alive across the courtyard. Cutting his beard and cleaning up, he made a plan to contact her. Using signs he placed on the window and she finally sees him too, he learned her name was Eva, she was alone, and she had few supplies. She has to close her curtains when she hears screamers coming but agrees to talk to him later. That night it rained, so Aiden collected water and washed up, unaware Eva was watching him. The next day, they used ropes to send water between balconies, but suddenly a screamer began climbing Eva's building but when he was about to reach her, Aiden threw a bottle at it and banged on his railing to distract it, causing it to climb Aiden's building instead, while another screamer pounded on his door hard enough to move the fridge. Eva tried throwing things to help, but the screamer reached Aiden's balcony, forcing him to lock the door and rush to push the fridge back. The screamer outside begins pounding on the window to break it, but the wound makes him collapse. So, Aiden went outside and finished it with his bat. Moments later, Aiden leaves the apartment to retrieve Brandon's keys from his body in the hallway. Suddenly, a wave of screamers appear in the corridor. So, Aiden avoids them by pretending to be dead. He slips into Brandon's apartment, closing the door before the screamers reach him. Inside, he sees an inactive screamer on the bed. He takes some food and sees some climbing gear. He checks the bedroom for an axe and finds it under the bed, but at that moment a screamer jumps out of the bathroom. Aiden pushes him against a mirror and tries to run, but the screamer tackles him against the wall. Grabbing a lamp, Aiden hits him a few times to get him off him and falls on the bed, where the body is waking up too. The screamer jumps on him and fails to bite him through his clothes, giving Aiden time to grab the axe and finally kill him. Then, he takes the gear and sees the hallway swarming with more screamers. He carefully sneaks around and manages to dodge a screamer at the last second to return to his apartment, where he immediately takes off all his dirty clothes. When he checks the climbing equipment, he's excited to find 2 walkie-talkies. Using the sheets, he climbed to the ground safely, where he finds eaten bodies. There are running screamers as well, so Aiden sneaks around and quickly throws a walkie-talkie at Eva's balcony before running to climb back to his place. The next morning, Eva called and they spoke all day, regaining hope. Later, Aiden decided to search another apartment for supplies, this time leaving through the vent. Inside, he opens the cupboard and luckily finds lots of food. Excited, he calls Eva to share the news. But things get tense when Aiden finds the fridge against the front door, which means someone lives there. Suddenly, Edward appears behind him with a weapon. He puts it down when he confirms Aiden isn't a screamer. At first they have a friendly conversation. Later, Edward turned on Aiden, knocking him out to feed him to his infected wife, but Aiden broke free and pulled Edward into the room, causing his wife to attack him instead. Then Eva's voice screamed over the walkie that screamers had entered her place, making Aiden race to help her. He fought through corridors and balconies, falling at one point and painfully landing on a chair, which attracted another screamer. He grabbed a gun from a dead body and shot it, then climbed to meet Eva as more creatures attacked. They hugged tightly before running again as screamers poured in. They smashed through corridors, pushing and hitting every monster in their way, until Eva reached Aiden's apartment, but the original screamer from the start tried to grab him. Aiden pulled it out and killed it, then, thinking he was bitten, went to the balcony to end his life. When he removed his shirt, he found no wound, so they quickly pushed the fridge against the door as more pounding began, promising to survive together. For more interesting recaps like this, subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.